guys, welcome back. So lately I have got a couple video requests from my lovely gals on Facebook. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with me here on YouTube. One of the video requests was eyebrows. So I thought I would sit down here with you guys today and just film a video for y'all on eyebrows. I know that there's a lot of different ways to do eyebrows, whether you're into the big, thick Instagram eyebrows or bushy eyebrows or thin eyebrows. There are tons of different ways to do your eyebrows. I'm gonna do one eyebrow just filled in, nice natural eyebrow, and the other one I'm gonna do more Instagram, very defined, chiseled out eyebrow, so you guys can see the difference between the two and see a couple different ways to do it. The shirt just makes me want to shimmy. Like, look at my shoulders. So if you would like to see a full-on brow tutorial for beginners and just the simplest way possible to do your brows, then stay tuned, sister. Okay, so I'm just gonna zoom you guys in. Oh, maybe not. Hey! Now that we're zoomed in, before I go into any different product, I want to brush out my eyebrow hairs. My little tiny eyebrow hairs. I got this little handy spoolie out of a collection of brushes from Amazon, or you can buy bags like this off of Amazon for a couple dollars. Okay, so we're gonna start by brushing the eyebrow hairs up at the very front of your eyebrow, and then we're gonna brush them up and out. This point here would be the high point or the arch of my eyebrow. So the hairs that start from this point, I want to angle down. We're gonna do the same on both eyebrows, whether you're completely filling in or just adding a little bit more color. You want to always be brushing out your eyebrows. Today I'm going to use powders because I think using a powder is just the absolute easiest way, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like an eyebrow palette like I have here. You can use any palette that you have at home and just find a brown shade. You want to try picking out a lighter shade. Always go lighter than darker, okay? Because we can build up to a good looking brow with a light shade, but we cannot take away. Another way to pick out a color would just be to match your eyebrows to the roots of your hair. This palette came with this brush here. I love this brush because it's very thin, angled on this side, and then the other side is flat, which I like to use for cleaning up with concealer. So it's nice that it has two ends and that it's very, very thin. I could go into one that looks like this, an angled brush that's like this, but this is just so thick. I want something that looks more like hairs and something that I could build up a nice filled in eyebrow than just kind of like slap a bunch on. So again, I'm going to go into the lightest shade here, and we're going to lightly fill in this eyebrow, and this eyebrow will do the thick, glamorous look. Starting to fill in your eyebrows, you just want to follow the natural way that your hair goes. So like I said, this part goes up and then it goes out and then it goes down. So I want to follow the natural look of my hair with small little motion. So I'm going to take this brush and I'm going to concentrate mainly right now on the outer portion, and then I'll lightly fill in the front. My thing is, I'll just go ham and I'll start filling in the front, and then I have this big huge filled in eyebrow, which I love, but I want to make sure that I keep this natural for y'all. So I'm just going to go in and start lightly penciling this in. Hopefully you can see how I'm holding my brush. I want to have control but not too much control, so I'm holding it more towards the middle, and I'm just lightly filling in my brow. Kind of just defining the shape and filling in as I go. I'm just trying to follow the natural shape of my eyebrow. I'm not trying to go for a different shape or anything crazy. I'm just naturally filling in where my hair is. Now towards the front, I like to hold my brush like this way. I don't know why, but I just do. I'm gonna start from the bottom and just flick my brush upwards very lightly, just to fill in this portion here. So once everything is filled in to your liking, I would go back in with a spoolie again to just brush out my eyebrows, making sure that everything is blended in and the pigment is all over my brow, not just sticking in one place. There's no weird things happening. And I'm just gonna brush it out. This next step is optional, but if you have a palette something like this, or if you have a gel, then go ahead and try this. I'm gonna use the same spoolie and just roll it around in this pomade wax stuff just here. So grabbing some of this wax, I'm just gonna brush this through my eyebrow. It gives a very like wet looking effect, which I don't mind, but it's nice to keep your eyebrows in place all day, but you most definitely don't have to. I just like to go back and brush my eyebrow completely through. Just make sure that everything is filled in to my liking. So if you're somebody who loves the Instagram big eyebrows that are nice and defined like me, then you're gonna love this. The technique is the same, but there's a couple more steps to achieve the nice carved out brow. I'm gonna brush out my eyebrow once again, and I'm just grabbing this one this time so I don't have any of that pomade or wax in there. Now I chose this brow because I have this little beauty mark thing going on right there, and I always like to just cover that up with concealer and bring my eyebrows back to life, and I want to show you guys how I do that. So first and foremost, I'm going to take my brush and I'm literally going to line out my eyebrow. I like to start at where the base of my hairs are, right along here, and just bring it through, lightly lining, kind of going diagonal as I go, trying to go up towards the highest peak of my brow, and then bringing it down through the tail. So as you can see, we have this nice line drawn out, and I'm gonna do the same on the top. But for the top, I want to keep this portion of my eyebrow more natural looking, and I want the edges, or the outer edge, to be more defined. So with this line on the top, I start here and just really shape out the high peak of my brow down to the tail. Something like that, and then I go back in and I just fill in with hair-like strokes. Try to make sure that there's no sparse areas. For this outermost portion of my eyebrow, from like the very peak of here of my eyebrow to the tail, I'm going to take darker brown shade and lightly feather in some more hair, just making the outermost portion darker, and we're going to keep the inside lighter. So it looks more ombre, more natural eyebrow, even though it is super thick and super chiseled out and drawn on. Now we're going to go down here and just lightly blend that line up. I like to do this part instead of like continuing to do stroke motions here, just so I don't have this weird line, because sometimes I do and it doesn't blend out nice, so I like to blend it up just a little bit. Once I've blended up, I'm going to grab more product and then go back and do the hair-like strokes. Next, going in with a very decent amount of tape shape on the back of my hand with the flat side of my brush. I'm just going to coat both sides. I freaking love using concealer to clean up underneath my brows, just because I couldn't be bothered to shave them off or wax them, so this works great. So I basically just followed like a straight shot from here to that mole. Now, I'm going to bring this up, just angle this up slightly to cover that up and to give my brow a little more arch. Trying to keep the line as straight and seamless as possible. And then angling this down, cleaning up all these hairs right around that area. I'm just going to bring this all the way onto my eyelid while we're here. Having that concealer laid out, I like to go in with my finger and just tap it in. Going back and filling in if needed, if I got out of line with that concealer. Now we're going to grab just a little bit more and clean up the top, just to really shape your brows. You definitely don't have to. You can just clean up underneath and call it a day, but I love going through and cleaning up the top as well. I like to start out quite a ways, just so that I can see what I'm doing and I can get kind of like the little shakes that I have out before I get to my brow. Following right where my hair is up here. And then shaping the highest point, getting that nice arch, and then cleaning up the tail. And I always bring this up just a tad bit higher than my eyebrow, just so that I can blend my foundation into my concealer a little bit easier. Going back in and just filling everything in, make sure everything looks good. Okay guys, it's as simple as that. If you're hurrying up and you're running out the door, this eyebrow is for you. If you want to sit down and spend some time practicing to get that nice filled in brow appeal, then this is the eyebrow for you. And again, if you don't have any actual eyebrow palette, you can go ahead and find any eyeshadow color that is similar to your hair, or you can use the pencils. A sweet and simple eyebrow tutorial. I hope that you guys enjoyed it and I could teach you a little bit of something, hopefully. If you like this video, give me a big thumbs up. Feel free to leave any comments down below, and of course, subscribe to my channel so you can see some more videos from me. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.